regulatory shifts and market opportunities in the Americas, Africa, and the Middle East. Worlds apart?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome our guests, and starting from my right, I would like to ask Giusy, and then going on all the way to Alon, to give a very, very brief introduction of yourselves.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hi, Joe. Thanks for this great opportunity. Perhaps some of you already know me, while others may not. My name is Giusy Campo, and I work for GLI Gaminglabs, and I'm one of the business development managers.
Hello all, nice to meet you here in Malta. My name is Katerina. I'm a managing partner of Legal Pilot Firm, and we are taking care about all that boring scene for operators and for the platform, about the legal structuring, licensing, and so on.
Hi everyone, I'm Hayley Joseph, Director of Operations for WA.Technology, all the way from South Africa, living here in Malta, and basically thank you for coming to join our panel today.
And hello everyone, my name is Alon Segev. I'm managing partner of Segev LLP. We are a law firm based in Canada and the United States, focusing on gaming and payments, full service business law firm, and really happy to be here.
Okay, very good. I'm going to start with Hayley. Hayley, anyone that has touched Africa and the industry knows how crucial the right local partners are. How can companies effectively identify and establish local partnerships in the African iGaming market to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and enhance their market penetration?
Okay, I think there's a few elements really. One of them that comes to mind really is DD, due diligence, as we know. We need to know who you're dealing with. You need to understand their background, who are their partners, how they understand the regulatory landscape. I think that's a very big thing. I think another thing that comes to mind is deep local market insights. You know, there's different nuances and cultures that happen in the African landscape and footprint. So I think, you know, when you're going to partner with someone, you actually need to know what's happening in the 53 countries within South Africa, Africa itself. So I think that's very, very important. And a third thing for me really is building trust and credibility. I think that's a massive part of becoming, you know, known in Africa, and just getting behind some of the CSR initiatives, and just building that trust as a brand with your partners that you're going into partnership with.
Fantastic. Giusy, I turn to you. So speaking of local partnerships, this is also one of the main requirements for B2C operators wishing to obtain a license from the GCGRA and the UAE. Having worked with quite a few clients that are exploring or actually applying for licenses in the UAE, I have clearly noticed the strong influence by GLI on the UAE regulatory framework. What are the key GLI standards and that companies should follow to ensure that their products are properly prepared for the market entry?
Yeah. So today we will talk about the UAE market, which is certainly one of a hot topic right now. It's still, you know, regarding the regulation, there is still no definitive information available. Everything is under the regulator and under the review by the regulator. And what we can share with you is information available on their website, on the GCGRA website. The key standards definitely will include GLI 11 for the land-based operation and GLI 19 and 33 standards related to the online operations. Typically, GLI 19 and 33 are used for, especially 19 for the casino platform. So everything related to the games, PAM, player account management, games, RNG, and then 33 to the sport betting side. And having these two certifications will help definitely our customers to entering the UAE market, because afterwards the gap will be very small. They already will cover at least 80% of the technical requirement.
Thank you, Giusy. Katerina, when it comes to LATAM, right now, the hottest topic is definitely Brazil, with the new framework looming. Given the current online gaming ban and payment restrictions in Brazil, what innovative approaches can operators take to remain compliant while still engaging with the market?
Thank you so much for your question. First of all, I'm happy to have this chance to discuss Brazil, as it's one of the most hottest markets during the last years. And actually, we have a quite interesting situation within the regulation here. Also, we have already seen the last rollout of the legislation. We have all the 10 ordinances that were published, and now we can see the full picture of the regulation, and they covered some uncertainties. We still have some surprises from the regulator. They have started to discuss the full gambling ban in the Senate. What was the reason for that? I mean that their arguments are quite normal and they are the same. They are afraid of the financial instability of the nation and of the targeting of the minors or other vulnerable groups in society. However, I mean, what are the chances for this gambling ban to be approved? I don't think that we have a big chance, for this bill to be passed, because regulator has arranged a lot of the actions to be done, the financial resources to be invested into this reformation. So what we think right now, and what is my own advice for the operators who have already applied for the license or they consider to do so, we advise to have a pause till the end of this year and to see what will be the result of the discussions. And actually, the most possible way of the resolution of this case with a gambling ban is that they will propose some compromising draft, and they will make some extra requirements in the perspective of responsible gaming or something like that. And also extra updates that we have right now is the requirements as for the payment restrictions and the payment methods that can be used here in Brazil. I think that you should know about that, that there is a ban to use the credit cards, the cryptocurrencies. That actually is very painful here in Brazil, because all the operators and the platforms commonly use that. However, regulator says that it's very complicated to trace all these transactions. So we have what is advice on how to operate in Brazil market. The third one is just to use the either payment methods on this market. It's PIX, the most popular one. It's still allowed. The second, to use the debit cards. Please pay your attention that credit cards are totally banned, because regulator is looking for the financial stability of the social groups. So it's better to use the debit cards and also the payment methods within the bank transactions from the bettor's bank account to the operator's bank account. So you should keep an eye on it, and about the latest updates that we have right now. Just to sum up, let's say, although we have some changes here on this market, for sure there will be operators who will apply for the license, and there will be the percentage of the market that will stay into this gray area, let's say. For the latest group, I would advise to, in case they do not have maybe sufficient funds to apply for this license, because it's very expensive, please try to manage your operations and to get them in compliance with their requirements, because it's better to show to the regulator that you have the same policies, the same methods of operations, rather than not to have it all. So that's all.
Thanks, Katerina. And lastly, Alon. So we've seen how Ontario has developed the Ontario framework. Is Alberta the next region in Canada to adopt a gambling regulatory framework? And what can we learn from what happened in Ontario over the past years?
Yeah. Our expectation is Alberta's going to go live. Just by a show of hands here, who knows where Alberta is located in Canada? Does anybody have any idea what Alberta is? I saw one gentleman over there. He's probably Canadian. No, he's not, but he wish he was because Trump just got elected. All right, so Alberta is the fourth.
Depends. If he invests in crypto, definitely would be happy.
We might bring him up on stage and cross-examine him. So Alberta is the fourth most populous province in Canada. It goes Ontario, our French neighbors to the east, Quebec, British Columbia, and Alberta. Notwithstanding the smaller population, Alberta does have a very high net worth population. It's known as, at least I call it, the Texas of Canada. It's very rich in oil and gas. It has a very rich gaming culture as well. Largest number of land-based casinos per capita exists in Alberta. We took a meeting with Minister Nally, who's the Minister of Services and Red Tape Reduction, last month. The timeline that we're expecting is it will go to the legislators in February for enacting legislation. All that means is it provides the government authority to develop legislation which will support the regime. And we're expecting it to go live sometime in the summer. And I think even that's hopeful. The market for Alberta is going to be smaller than Ontario, but it still will be sizable. Ontario has been a smashing success based on last year's numbers, 2023 to 2024, and the fiscal year ends in March. You saw $63 billion, again, $63 billion in total dollars wagered, $2.3 billion in profit. In terms of what Alberta can learn from Ontario, Ontario was actually quite practical in terms of getting operators and B2B providers registered. We're expecting Alberta to mirror the same model as Ontario. In fact, what they're discussing is one compliance package for both provinces. They're even discussing an automatic renewal date for both provinces. If you're registered in Ontario, there's a very good chance that you're going to get fast-tracked registered in Alberta as well. So it's going to be quite economically favorable to be registered with both provinces.
So I have to skip some questions that I had planned to ask you. I just have 5 minutes, so this is a question for all of you. What, in your opinion, are the main challenges for operated in regulated markets? Thinking of the issues that we have experienced over the years, and what are the next challenges that await us?
I'll take that one. I think for me, talking about my space in Africa, I think it's the ever-changing regulatory landscape that happens in Africa. So I think keeping up to speed with the quick changes in Africa. The taxes is very big as well. There's certain taxes in some of the countries within Africa. So I think understanding the market, doing the market research before you enter a country, or especially in Africa, it's a very lucrative market to get into, but it's also very complex. And just to understand what happens in Africa, understand what happens on the ground, what happens to what the nuances are, what the cultural likes are. It's all about Ubuntu there. So for me, Africa, it's definitely a market that is up and coming in the next few years, but you have to understand the markets and research it and just understand what makes Africa work. Yeah.
Anyone else? Alon, maybe?
I would say sort of practical regulations that allow operators to evolve with technology. A lot of the legislation around the world is quite out of date, and we're finding when we're advising our clients, we're trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. So for the regulators out there, just to be mindful that technology is evolving at a very fast pace, and it's quite a challenge for operators to adapt to old legislation. While I have Alberta on my mind, I would say as well, tax rates are still very critical. Alberta is contemplating a 25% tax on GGR. We've pushed back with the minister saying that's not going to deal with the gray market. At the end of the day, this is a business, and operators are looking at margins.
Katerina?
I can take a word to add about LATAM as well. I think that's the biggest issue for all these jurisdictions where they establish a fresh regulation is instability, because it's impossible to have the roadmap for the operator and just to follow those stages, to have the time and to invest properly into different stages to get themselves compliant into with all the requirements, all the legislation. And the second issue here, I think that the license fee is really very high that it is established in Brazil, and actually it prevents small operators to apply for that. Because whenever you come to the new market, for sure, from the business perspective, it's better to test your business theory to see how the market works. And actually, these operators, they come here, they cannot afford themselves to pay million and million of euros just to test how they will work on this specific market. So the procedure is has a lot of uncertainties, and the second one is the financial resources that should be invested into this process.
Any comments from you, Giusy?
Yes. So usually most of the B2C, most of the operators, they have to take care of the certification process. But also the B2B, they have to do their own certifications.
And we're seeing a lot of other jurisdictions now that are coming up with frameworks, licensing frameworks for B2B.
Yes,
also.
both B2B and B2C, first of all, they have to make sure that they have to be licensed, so they need a lawyer or a law firm to go and be advised by them, and then they need a test lab to go through the certification process and make sure that all the products are certified against the technical requirement of the market that they want to enter. And as we all know, all the regulated markets, they have their own technical requirements. So you have to make sure that your products, they will be certified against those requirements.
I'd just like to say I agree with Giusy's comment that all of you need a lawyer. I support that.
So thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you for our participants. Thank you for you guys. And I'm sure the next few panels are also interesting. So I would like you to stay and follow the next few seminars.
Absolutely. Thank you
you.
so much
Thank
to
you.
Joseph and his
Thank you so much.
panel.